Hey YouTube, I just wanted to let you know that the following video you are about to watch is actually a part of the Creatrix live series happening over on Instagram. We started this 5-week-long live series in celebration of the next cohort of my signature group coaching program known as Embodied Creatrix. This program is 12 weeks long. It is for women visionaries who are ready to live a soul-aligned life that turns them on so that they can make the impact they know they're here to create. So it starts with getting clear on our values and vision, doing the mindset work to own our desires, doing the mindset work to show up for our dreams, right? We do all of this through, again, deep mindset, pleasure, clarity, strategy, and execution. So this is deep work that happens over a 3-month-long period in community, in a container with other driven visionary women. And so in celebration of this next iteration of my program starting August 30th, I wanted to give people sort of a sneak peek of the kind of work that we do in the full program, give everyone a feel for the kind of content that we unpack therein. And so that's why we're doing this 5-week-long live series. So we're dropping juicy, delicious, actionable content. So whether you're interested in the full program or not, you will get served. You will find tools and information to support you in owning your desires and showing up for your dreams and executing on your vision. And there's going to be plenty of opportunities for winning Creatrix related prizes and giveaways. So if you want to participate live, I highly recommend you come find us on Instagram. All the relevant links to learn about the program, to find me on Instagram and participate live is down below, and I can't wait to see you there. The title for today's live is The Best Hack for Rewiring Your Brain and Building New Habits. Because this is just something all of us experience. I know I've experienced it, I've seen it when working with people, and it is that when it comes to building new modes of being, or showing up in the world in new ways, or creating new habits, or taking action on our dreams and goals, sometimes we encounter resistance, right? That's just natural, it's part of the process. And I think what tends to happen is when we encounter that resistance, or we encounter that sort of, you could call it like a lack of motivation, right? And for a lot of us, it's like, we know that we need to do this thing. Like, we even know sometimes that we're gonna feel better once we do it, right? But for some reason, executing, just getting ourselves to do it, feels like such a struggle. There's just so much resistance there. What I see tend to happen is that that's when we start to spin out, right? Our brain is flooded with all of those thoughts like, oh God, why am I resisting? Like, what's wrong? Like, is this out of alignment? Maybe the universe is giving me a sign that the timing's off, right? That the synchronicities aren't right yet, and so I shouldn't act, right? Or maybe there's fear. This is a big one for people, this idea that there's some fear that they haven't uncovered yet. The resistance is coming from some fear. I need to do more shadow work, or I need to do more digging to like find the blockage, or to like continue to heal, or whatever it is, right? And so we start to spin out, and our brain does that thing where it's trying to solve for all the problems. Okay, so does that sound familiar? Has anyone ever been there? I know I've totally been there. Again, this happens sometimes even when we know that if we just do the thing, we're gonna feel better afterwards, but for whatever reason, there's just that resistance there. And so we don't need to spin out in those moments. I just want to say that. We don't need to spin out, and we don't need to make ourselves wrong if we find ourselves spinning out, right? It's human. That's how our brains work. That's how it all functions. But what we do want to do is support our brain and our mind in the execution process, in just doing the thing, right? And so we're going to talk about that in just a second. But what we don't want to do is just kind of force ourselves to go through with it, right? We talk a lot about, in the full program, we talk about hustle energy and forcing energy and powering through. And what we really try to adhere to in the program is pursuing our desires and dreams in the way we want to experience them. And so that means, pursuing our desires and dreams in the way we want to experience them means that we're taking action and we're showing up and we're executing in ways that feel good or as good as possible to the best of our abilities with the resources we have, right? And so, pursuing your desires and dreams in the way you want to experience them could be incorporating more joy, incorporating more pleasure, curiosity, creativity, imagination, whatever it is for you, right? We don't want to be on the journey to the outcome or the result in a like functioning in a way that doesn't feel good, functioning in forcefulness, functioning in hustle, functioning in that, powering through that resistance, right? Because that doesn't feel good. And so we want to be, again, pursuing our desires and dreams in the ways that we want to experience them with pleasure, with more peace, with more joy, whatever, etc., right? So how can we do that when we're finding ourselves in that moment of resistance? I know that I need to do this thing. I need to take action here. I need to stay committed to this new habit, whatever it is, XYZ, but I'm meeting resistance. How can I support my mind, body, spirit, complex, my whole system of consciousness in pursuing and in executing on that thing I know I need to do, and pursuing it in a way that feels good, right? So that I'm in alignment. That's what we're going to talk about. Okay. So, the long and short of it is, sometimes it is a mindset issue. Sometimes there is fear to be uncovered. Sometimes, that is part of it. And we go deep, deep, deep into mindset work, into uncovering our subconscious fears in the Embodied Creatrix program, okay? But sometimes, you guys, it's just the way our brain works. As much as we want to believe that our brain can function off of total neutrality, I just don't find that that's the case. Our mind, our higher mind, if we're, training it and working with it, we can function from that neutrality, that neutral space, right? But like our brain, the most primal fundamental parts of our brain and our body, like our brain is our body and our body is our brain, right? Those most fundamental primal parts, they function off of association. Either positive association, things I want to run towards, things I want to experience more of, or negative association, the things that I want to avoid, like the risks that I do not want to take, right? And so when it comes to supporting our embodied experience and supporting and honoring our humanity and our sensing needs, when it comes to building new habits and taking action on our dreams and goals, when we run into the resistance, what we want to do, the solution, is to support our brain and body through creating positive associations, okay? Positive associations with the new habits. So like, for example, I just want to think of something super basic, as an example or like analogy. We all brush our teeth. At least I hope we all brush our teeth, right? And we all know that brushing our teeth is like supportive long-term. It's supporting our long-term health. It's keeping us out of the dentist's office, right? It doesn't mean that we might not ever run into like a cavity or some other mouth issue or something, right? But overall, like long-term, brushing your teeth on a consistent daily basis is going to support your overall longevity and health, right? But when you're a kid, okay, like brushing your teeth is boring. It's a chore. No one wants to do that shit, right? And so, as a parent, you might make brushing like teeth time fun for your kids, right? Maybe it's a time where you all hang out in the bathroom and tell stories while you're brushing your teeth, or there's a song that goes along with it, or you're building you can build some kind of positive association with the chore so that they can actually experience joy while they're in the chore, while they're in the mundane, while they're in the thing, right? This too, as much as we want to think that as adults we can just like power through this shit and not have to deal with this stuff. Like that inner child, that ego, did I say eagle? That ego, that most fundamental primal part of us still needs that kind of support. And for some reason in adulthood, right, in our conditioning, we just assume, or we're taught to like not care about that piece. And so this is what the pleasure in mindset, pleasure, strategy, and execution, and all the work we do in Embodied Creatrix, this is the shit we go deep on. Like, how can I create more joy in the experience? How can I create more pleasure in the process of doing the thing? How can I create more ease, more excitement, more curiosity, more whatever it is that you value, that you're sort of attaching to the outcome? How can you infuse it into the moment when you're showing up and executing on your desires, dreams, and goals, right? That way, you are pursuing your desires and dreams in the same way you want to experience them. You're creating those associations for your brain and body, so that it becomes easier over time to show up and do those things, right? I guarantee that if you try this out, if you can commit to this, if there's some spot in your experience or in your creation or manifestation process right now where you're feeling that resistance, like, I know what I need to do and I know I'll feel good once I do it, but I'm just hitting a wall when it comes to executing on it, try this, and do it consistently, and I promise you'll see shifts in your motivation for doing it and in just the ease of, you know, showing up to get it done. And it feels good. It does, like, the resistance is slowly just going to dissolve, okay? Like, this is the work we do in that 90-day container, is building out these processes for showing up for ourselves, for our real, like, needs as just human beings, as inner children, as, you know, so that we can continue to show up for our dreams and our vision and for the big things we know we're here for and the impact we know we're here to make, right? We want to sort of skip all of this stuff and just, you know, pretend that we don't need it, but we really do. And so this is us showing up for us. This is you showing up for you and honoring your humanity and honoring your embodied experience so that you can do the big things over time, right? So does that make sense? So again, that like brushing our teeth thing is such a silly, like, analogy, but it's true. When you're feeling that resistance, ask yourself, like, how can I be the best parent to my inner child right now? The inner child that, like, doesn't want to show up for the chore and doesn't want to do the mundane thing. How can I bring ease and pleasure and peace into that? How can I, even, like, to the best of my abilities with the resources I have, just add one more degree of pleasure, joy, curiosity, fun, excitement, right? So that's the solution to not entering that force and that hustle and pursuing our desires and dreams in the way we want to experience them when we're meeting resistance to executing on our goals, right? Let me just pause and take a sip of water and look at my notes. So again, what I see happen a lot is when we meet that resistance is that spin out, right? That all of our thoughts spin out. We're like, oh God, there's fear that I need to uncover. Like, there is, you know, there must be another block in me that I need to find and heal. You know, again, the timing's off. I'm not in my flow, right? All of those kinds of things. And the question really is, okay, so how do I bring more ease, pleasure, flow, trust into this situation while I execute, while I show up and do the thing I need to do, right? And there's two ways to kind of think about this. You can infuse, like we were just talking about, infusing to the best of your abilities with the resources you have, just 1 degree more of ease, of pleasure, of joy, of whatever, into your process, into you showing up to do the thing that needs to get done. Or you can sandwich. You can sort of do something before you take the action, before you execute. Do something to infuse yourself with, to get yourself aligned, to get yourself in the energy. Again, this isn't all or nothing. It's moving 1 degree at a time. It gets easier as we do this. Practice makes progress. But doing something to zhuzh you up, to get you in pleasure, to get you in trust, to get you in joy, doing something to get you in alignment to the best of your ability with the resources you have, showing up and taking the action, and then ending it with, again, another activity or something or other that brings you joy, that puts you in peace, that puts you in trust, right? So sandwiching or just infusing the actual execution process with that energy as much as you can. And this doesn't have to be big, and it doesn't have to cost money. Like, this gets to be super easy and simple, and it just gets to be what works for you. I am someone that is so moved and touched by music. Music is so important to me. And so I have specific playlists and certain songs that are like my go-to songs for these kinds of things, right? So it could be 30 seconds of deep breathing to get yourself into peace and ease before you do that thing that you just don't feel motivated to do, right? It could be like some ASMR type of thing to give you all the tingles and the chills. It could be prayer, right? It could be communicating with your higher self or your spirit team. It could be something really down to earth and practical, like listening to a song that pumps you up. It could be like having your favorite beverage, like literally anything, right? It doesn't have to be hard. It gets to be really simple and easy. And again, infusing that into you executing and showing up for the thing, taking the action, or sandwiching it, like giving yourself a little bit of that before, showing up, doing the thing, and then giving yourself a little bit of that after. And you guys, I know this sounds so simple, and you're like, well, okay, whatever. But seriously, the next time you're in resistance to taking that action, to showing up for that goal, to showing up for that activity that you've committed to, or that new habit that you've committed to, this is so important for trying this out. Just try this on, right? Try this, infusing pleasure, joy, peace, ease, whatever it is, to the best of your abilities, 1 degree at a time. Try it out and actually gain the data, give it a solid run and gain the data, gain the actual feedback to see, has this affected my motivation? Has this affected my ease in showing up and doing this thing that before was so full of resistance for me? Is it actually easier now? Is it so much easier to show up? Am I showing up without even having to work through the resistance anymore, right? You really want to make this an experimental process, to enter into this with curiosity and give it a solid run so that you can, again, gain the data and feedback to see how it pans out. Because I can almost guarantee, I don't know if I can truly guarantee anything, but I can basically guarantee that it will shift how it is you show up for those action steps that you committed to, or those things that you've committed to, or those things that you've promised to yourself when it comes to executing on your goals and, showing up for your dreams and creating new habits or modes of being or modes of operating in the world, right? And I don't know why it is in adulthood we just want to skip all this stuff. We just think that we should be grown up or be over it or not have to worry about these parts of ourselves. And that's what I mean when it comes to honoring our humanity and honoring our embodied experience and not trying to bypass that stuff. That's why we do this type of work in the Embodied Creatrix program. It's really opening this kind of infusing pleasure, infusing joy into our systems and processes. It's all about receivership. It's all about building our capacity to receive in any given moment, even the difficult shit, right? I'm sure this has a lot to do with our reward pathways, but I'm not an expert in that, and I don't really like the framework of reward, because I think for us as full-grown humans with big dreams, as creatrixes with visions for our lives and the big things we want to do and the impact we want to make, our current work is not about reward. Maybe when we were kids, to get the ball rolling, but our current work is about building systems and processes to honor our humanity, honor our embodied experience, that allow us to sit in the unknown, to sit in those liminal spaces, to sit in the discomfort of, I'm taking the action, but the reward or the outcome or the result hasn't shown up yet. So how can I pursue my desires and dreams in the way that I want to experience them, so that the journey to the end result is just as profound and powerful as the result itself, right? Because this is something else I see a lot, is that, again, I've said this before and I'll say it again, you can manifest and create and have wild results and you know, create beautiful outcomes and not pursue your desires and dreams in the way you want to experience them, right? You could be someone that's in the hustle energy, that's in that powering through, that's someone that's feeling miserable and unfulfilled and unsuccessful even though they're creating the results, right? Like, you don't have to do everything that I talk about in order to manifest or create successfully. Like, you can have success without all of this stuff, but it just doesn't feel good. And so it's like, do we really just want the outcome? Sometimes, yes, that's a whole nuanced experience. But really, it's that personhood cultivation piece, right? It's building the skills to sit in that liminal space, to sit in the unknown, to sit in the in-between where we're taking the action, but the result hasn't shown up yet. It's that kind of like personhood development that really makes all the difference. And doing that kind of work is actually such a beautiful thing because, again, so this is where I was going when I started this. I've seen this happen many times, and I myself have done this, where I manifested the thing, or I created the thing, or the outcome fell in my lap, but I freaked out, right? And I see this with people all the time. They balk. They're like, oh shit, wait. I know I asked for it, but fuck, can I hold that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to do now that it's here. Like, this amazing opportunity fell in my lap, and it's the thing I've been asking for. And then we freak out and we push it away, right? We don't know how to receive it. We close ourselves off from receiving it. It's because that personhood cultivation piece, that building the skills to sit in that liminal space, in the discomfort, in the unknown, to navigate all of that and manage all of that and feel good in all of that, like practice feeling good and trusting in all of that, you know, that's the part we want. That's the part our like soul is craving for. That's the personal transformation our soul is really craving, you know? And so that's kind of what this piece is all about. That's sort of what our topic all ties back to today. So it's, again, the best hack for rewiring, the best hack for rewiring your brain and building new habits is building those positive associations so that you can actually support your humanity and your embodied experience in that liminal space, in that unknown, right? In the in-between, that uncomfortable in-between of consistently showing up for your vision or your dream or whatever it is you're creating before the outcome or the outer results land, right? Does that make sense? And I'm totally open if you guys have questions, if you want to comment on this feed or replay or DM me about this. But I really freaking believe in this shit because, again, I've seen it where we manifest the things, but then we're still unhappy and satisfied, right? Because we were attaching all of our pleasure and our joy to the outcome or the result, but we didn't allow ourselves the pleasure or joy the whole journey to the result, right? And then the thing comes and we're still unsatisfied, we're still unhappy, or the thing comes and we're like, holy shit, I don't know how to hold this, I don't know what to do with it, right? So it really is, for me, that personhood cultivation piece, while we're showing up for our dreams, while we're executing on our goals, while we're building the life we want to live, right? That is the sort of self and soul integration, that is the creation and manifestation, like inner and outer processes coming together. And that's what we do in the program. And that's what I want to support y'all through, even if you're not in the program. And that's why we're doing the Creatrix Live series. So if you have questions around this, you know, go ahead and comment, go ahead and DM me. We can talk about it. You can always book a free call as well. And we can, you know, do a little personalized support in whatever it is you're experiencing resistance around right now. And yeah, that's what I have for you guys today. Give yourself the space and the grace to work with your brain and body, right? To, like, this is how you can support your brain and your body, and being on board and being involved in showing up for your dreams, in executing on your goals and on your vision, right? Is you can help create that positive association so that it is easier, so that we're not just relying on mind and force and powering through, but we're actually making it easier for that inner child, for that body, for that, you know, for our humanity to do the things that need to get done, right? Like brushing our teeth. We all just need to brush our teeth. But how can we make that experience more fun, more playful, more creative, more joyful, more peaceful, more trusting, whatever it is for you, right? So the solution here is, again, building those positive associations when it comes to forming new habits and taking new action and building new modes of being in the world and operating in the world. And so infusing more of whatever it is you're looking for, pleasure, joy, peace, ease, trust, into the actual execution, or sort of sandwiching. So doing something to get your body into peace, into ease, into relaxation, into trust prior, showing up, doing the action, and then following it up with another activity that brings you peace, that brings you ease, joy, peace, pleasure, whatever it is, right? It's almost like we're building those neural pathways in the body to receive, right? That's what the positive association is, right? We're actually giving ourselves the lived experience of whatever it is we're needing, okay? Because here's the thing, knowing isn't enough, right? Because in so many of these situations, we know that we're just gonna feel better once we do it, right? But knowing isn't enough. That's what living in that theoretical, conceptual place is. And what we want to do, especially in the Embodied Creatrix program, this is what we work on, is moving from that conceptual, theoretical place and bringing that into the body and into the lived experience, right? The embodied space. So I know I'm gonna feel better once I do it, but how can I help my body and my brain along? By creating that feeling now, by getting present and experiencing that now to the best of my abilities with the resources I have, and then doing that a few times. It's just going to get easier, and those neural pathways are going to be reinforced, and we're going to be like, oh yeah, before we know it, the resistance isn't there because the body is on board, the brain is on board, those primal fundamental aspects of our brain is on board, because there's an association there of something. This is something I want to run towards, this is something that brings me pleasure, that feels good, right? It seems so simple, but it is life-changing. Like, I promise. Give it a try. Think about, this is your homework. Like, where is something that you feel resistance when it comes to taking action or executing on a goal or building a new habit or mode of operation, mode of like showing up in the world? How can you either infuse or sandwich pleasure, joy, peace, trust, whatever it is for you, into that process of execution? Give it 10 days or give it 30 days, or come into the program and give it 90 days, right? Get into Embodied Creatrix and actually give yourself, a solid amount of time to commit to the experience, to gain feedback and to gain data. And then you'll see, and I can, again, almost guarantee that before you even realize it, it's just gonna be so much easier to show up, because the associations are just being reinforced, right? This is what I mean by rewiring your brain, right? It's not just the mental part, the mindset piece, and it's not just like the thoughts, right? It's actually rewiring your brain and your body. It's getting that part of you on board, your humanity and your embodied experience as well, right? Because you're human and you're here and you're embodied. So why wouldn't we want that piece to be on board as well? You are a whole system of consciousness. All of you deserves to feel good. So it's not just thinking the thoughts you want to think. It's feeling the way you want to feel while you show up for your dreams, take big action, do big things, and make the impact you're here for, right? So that's what I have for you guys today. I will see you on Thursday as well. Remember, the full program, Embodied Creatrix, starts August 30th. We have several different payment plans available. If you have questions about the program, don't hesitate to reach out. You can book a free call with me. We can talk about it, see if it's actually a right fit for you. You could also get a discount code, $100 off. The coupon code works on all of the payment plans. And so if you're thinking about it, if you're kind of on the fence, just reach out and we can talk through it. Again, see if it's the right fit for you. And yeah, I will see you guys on Thursday for the next Creatrix Live episode. And have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Mwah, 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 mwah.